Bend and Scoop is brought to you by Harder Concepts, the best bars in North Dallas. Eat, drink, party harder.
I love Bend and Scoop, man.
You want to hear some music? You'd like that, wouldn't you? Well, today you're going to get all the music you want.
The request lines are now open. KGFJ Soul Radio.
Do it now, man.
Request lines are up.
It's open, man.
Got any Blue Oyster Cult?
No, I don't have any Blue Oyster Cult. I ate 34 pairs last time around. Where were you? I was that close to working at 7-Eleven, you know.
Pass the word along. Tell the men it's time to shoot the moon.
Shoot the moon!
Out there on the microphone. On the microphone.
Shoot the moon. Shoot the moon.
The attitude dictates that you don't care whether she comes, stays, lays, or prays. I mean, whatever happens, your toes are still tapping.
Hey, Strawberry! Oh, Strawberry. Hey, what's happening, man? How you doing? This is my friend.
Hey, how you doing, man?
What you looking at, man?
Oh, nothing. I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking at his neck, man.
Can you honestly tell me that you forgot the magnetism of Robin Zander or the charisma of Rick Nielsen?
That's kid stuff.
Kid stuff. Well, how about the tunes? I want you to want me. The Dream Police. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Build your muscles picking strawberries. You know, Bend and Scoop. Maybe I could get you a job with United Fruit. I got a buddy with United Fruit. Start with strawberries, you might work your way up to these goddamn bananas. When, boy, are you gonna get your act together?
We're creating a society of cell phone crazed, marijuana smoking zombies.
Coming to you not quite live from Lukewarm Tallboy Studios deep in the land of Gar, this is Bend and Scoop, the podcast featuring music, mirth, and minutia, focused on exposing artists you probably haven't heard, but should. I'm Bob, and I'll be your tour guide on this amazingly asymmetric auditory adventure as we journey to the center of your cochlea. Welcome to episode 70. Bend and Scoop is brought to you by Harder Concepts, the best bars in North Dallas. Visit one of the now 6 great Harder Concepts locations in DFW, including Scruffy Duffy's, Ringo's Pub, and the brand new Bottle Rockets, all at the Shops at Legacy in Plano, Saintsbury Tavern at Austin Ranch in the Colony, the Mucky Duck at Addison Circle in Addison, and Addison Ice House at Vitruvian Park in Addison. All Harder Concepts locations have great food, live music, an amazing beer and spirit selection, and a wait staff that's second to none. Whether you want to hang out with old friends or meet some new ones, there's no better place to get together and watch your favorite sports or hear some awesome tunes. Eat, drink, party harder. Joining us at the end of the show to play a round of Is That Your Vinyl Answer in the Groovin' After Party will be our special guest, Shawn Westfall, from the podcast A Positive Jam. We spread the gospel of vinyl here at Bend and Scoop, so be sure to tell us all about your favorite neighborhood record store by posting to @BendScoop on Twitter or Instagram using the hashtag SpinMomandPop. Our record store of the week is Sweat Records in Miami. You can follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Sweat Records. And you can check out their website at sweatrecordsmiami.com. Kicking things off is a band from Minneapolis called Kiss the Tiger. This is from their brand new album, Vicious Kid. The song is Motel Room.
I think you're wearing me dead. I want the
That was Teddy and the Rough Riders out of Nashville from their 2019 album, The Congress of Teddy and the Rough Riders. That song was Bite Me. How Many is a podcast where I get together with my friends Jesse, Junior, Gary, and Scott to debate a variety of pop culture topics, including movies, sports, TV, music, and more. You can follow How Many on Twitter at How Many Podcast and listen at howmanypodcast.com. Up next from Toronto is a band called Wine Lips from their upcoming album Mushroom Death Sex Bummer Party. That's a mouthful. This is Eyes.
How have things been for the last 4 years?
Fine. I need $28,000 to pay off a gambling debt, or else I'm a dead man. Don't worry, though. It will never happen again.
$28,000? Mm-hmm. Well, that doesn't surprise me very much. You've been a constant source of embarrassment, irritation, ever since your mother and I brought you home that day from the orphanage.
Orphanage? Father, I am not adopted. I am your son.
I know, but please allow me that little fantasy.
I need the money.
No, not ever. You're going to have to learn to be responsible for yourself and to others.
They're coming to break my hips, Father.
Son, in the years to come, you'll thank me for the gift of self-reliance. And in the meantime, if that should come to pass, you'll simply have to learn to use one of those, what do they call them? A walker.
Dad, you don't seem to understand. I have nowhere else to turn. If I don't give them 28 grand by midnight tonight, they're going to beat the holy crap out of me.
You know what upset me about the graduation ceremonies? Was how tacky the university grounds looked. The lawns looked as if they needed to be seeded. Trees weren't as ancestral. I don't suppose this occurred to you, did it?
You are a true peckerhead.
There's no
From New Orleans, that was Bottom Feeders from their 2018 single Blockade. Plausible Deniability is a monthly podcast I co-host with my pal David Miller, which you can follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Pause Deny. We post new episodes on the first day of every month. Up next from Austin are the Infinites from their self-titled 2019 album. This is Polly Ann Parker.
As though it were not there. Woo! Nothing's the same no more. Nothing will change for sure. Broken glass on the floor. Same as it was before. Nothing's the same no more. Nothing will change for sure. Broken glass on the floor.
From Baltimore, that was Outer Spaces with TV Screen off their 2019 album Gazing Globe. Campfire Songs is a podcast where I get together with my buddies Todd, Jim, and Tom to share and discuss songs with each other. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Songs Campfire and give us a listen for more great music. Up next from Portland are the Minders with Let's Go Driving from 2019.
Let's go Sunday driving. We'll head out to the coast of golden sands and sailing boats. We're overdue. The station wagons gliding, hang my arm in the sun. We'll bang the side just like a drum. You know the tune. Oh, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, only 10 more miles to go. Oh, I can see it go, the ocean blue. Oh, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, got to spend this time with you. Oh, those hard times made it through. We made it through. And don't you worry, we're still in tune. Oh, me and you. And I've been worried, but now I'm through. Oh, now I'm through. And all this time we're hurrying. Oh, we run around so lost. Oh, can't be bothered, will not stop to catch the view. Oh, let's go Sunday driving. Oh, we'll head out on our own. Oh, get out, escape the town, do something new. Oh, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, only 10 more miles to go. Oh, I can see it go, the ocean blue. Oh, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, got to spend this time with you. Oh, those hard times made it through. We made it through. Oh, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la. Oh, sha-la-la-la-la. Oh, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la.
Are you in charge here?
Yes, John Reynolds.
Oh, Lawrence Bourne the third, Johnny.
Bourne, I've got a telegram for you.
Last chance.
Over my dead body.
Interesting.
You must have some friends in pretty high places, Bourne.
Yeah, well, we do consider Washington our general store.
Damnedest thing you ever saw. Training wave, location approval. Just like that, you're officially in the Peace Corps.
This is ridiculous, really. No, I am obviously not of Peace Corps fiber. It's not that I can't help these people. It's just that I don't want to.
Mama told me it'll be alright, things will go my way. Mama told me I would see through life and I wouldn't have to waste a day. I thought of Mama and I took her advice, taking it for granted things would turn out right. I looked out for no one else but number one. I honestly thought in many years to come I'm gonna look back and laugh at what I just done. Took me a while to realize that things weren't going right. He wasn't my style, but I met this boy and then I took him home every night. I thought of Mama and I took her advice, taking it for granted things would turn out nice. I looked out for no one else but number one. I honestly thought in many years to come I'm gonna look back and laugh at what we just done. What we just done.
From Cardiff, Wales, that was Susie Chunk with Look Back and Laugh from her 2015 album Girl from the Neck Down. Have you ever wanted to host a podcast? Well, all you have to do to join the Mike Hunt and host your very own episode of Assume the Juxtaposition is send me your topic idea to lukewarmtallboy@gmail.com. You can follow Assume the Juxtaposition on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at AssumeTJPod. And don't forget to stick around for the end of the show, when we'll be joined in the Groovin' After Party by our special guest, Shawn Westfall, from the podcast A Positive Jam. Up next from Atlanta is DiCaprio with Dog on a Hill from their 2019 Sleep In EP.
superstars are here at Super Values. Super music from Bad Company. The Doors. ZZ Top. Super Values from Black Sabbath, Talking Heads, Joe Walsh, Genesis, Yes, and Devo. Jay Giles.
The Plus is the place for all these and thousands more at just $3.99.
From New Jersey, that was Liquor Store. From their 2013 album In the Garden, that one was Midnight Walker. If you want to listen to all this great music without having to hear me ramble between songs, be sure to check out our Bend and Scoop Spotify playlist. If we played it and they have it, you can listen to it there. And if you enjoy listening to what we do here on Bend and Scoop, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. And if you really enjoy what we do here at Bend and Scoop and would like to show your support, please feel free to drop a little something in our virtual tip jar at patreon.com/bendscoop. When it comes to spreading the word about Bend and Scoop, we're always looking for a few good volunteers.
Lawrence Bourne III joined the Peace Corps. Not to save the world, but to save his own skin.
So this is hell.
Tom Tuttle, Tacoma, Washington.
In a week, I'll have that town running like Pittsburgh.
Volunteers.
That's right. Rich American, huh? It's not that I can't help these people, it's just that I don't want to.
You mean you've just been trying to go to bed with me?
Well, I think I put in the hours, don't you?
Their mission
We will build bridge.
is goodwill, progress,
What did I say?
Move this log and I'll sleep with each one of you. Blackjack is the game.
free enterprise,
Place your bet.
diplomacy,
I'm gonna go. You know where you are. I'm in the clutches of the angry pink menace. You will be educated. That will be a challenge. The enemy of the people are all those in league with imperialism. That bridge is important to us. Yes.
Opium is money. The bridge mean more traffic. Time is money.
You said opium was money.
Money is money.
Well, then what is time again?
America! America!
The People's Army must become one with the people.
We'll show those warmongers we'll just blow the bridge to bits.
What have I done?
How's this gonna look on my resume? Who's gonna hire me?
volunteers. One did,
I'm back! Whoa!
one didn't.
Thailand.
Tom Hanks, John Candy, volunteers.
She got started when she's on it dead, and we call her names. I tried to make her feel ashamed. I guess she didn't listen though, because she did it all the same. Now why would I guess it's just because there's nothing worse than a hypocrite, but that's what I was. I wanted the candy, I couldn't enter the store, and so the mixed up feelings, well they got that much more. Nobody told me, take a pause and look inside. You couldn't dream or you could not cry. Well it's been over and dear for years. Let's give it all for the volunteers. I don't know why. Was it the things you do? I think we should give medals, maybe a grand or two. Well, she's a zero son, but she's a hero man. For the community service, she's giving out free. Not every day, not a man is to a man. I truly want to keep my man. There's nothing worse than a hypocrite. We got friends in the
People listen to people. So listen, people. Welcome to the Groovin' After Party. Come on in and pour yourself a cold one.
Joining me now for our Groovin' After Party here on Bend and Scoop is Shawn Westfall from the podcast A Positive Jam. Welcome, Shawn.
Bob, I'm glad to be here. I'm really looking forward to this. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. So tell everybody about A Positive Jam, because it's been a while since we had Dan on, and I've been fortunate enough to appear on A Positive Jam. But for those listening who may not have heard the show, tell everybody about it.
A Positive Jam is a podcast focused almost exclusively, well, not almost exclusively on the Hold Steady, a band that I've been obsessed with for going on almost 2 decades now. And the podcast originated with Dan Schwartzman and Mike Taylor, and the idea behind it was to sort of take a deep dive into each individual track on the Hold Steady's first album, Almost Killed Me. And I actually guested on that season, and again, it's like 10 or 11 tracks. I'm almost certain for that album. And I guess that I forget which track I was on, but I was asked to guess because Mike is a former student. He took my improv classes in Washington, D.C. when I had my own brick and mortar improv theater. And again, the brick and mortar improv theater was called the Unified Scene Theater, which is, if you're into the Hold Steady, you know that's a Touchstone-esque nomenclature. That's what the fandom of the Unified Scene, or fandom of the Hold Steady, calls themselves. And so I've been a fan, and I named my theater after that. So when it came time to do a second season, which would be taking a deep dive into
Separation Sunday.
Separation Sunday. I don't know why I'm party. Because it literally is my favorite album of the Hold Steady, and
mine too.
My top of all time. Dan and Mike asked me to actually host that season, and so I was overjoyed and overwhelmed to do that, and I really had a great time doing it, and of course had a great time having you on the podcast as well. So yeah, that's sort of a thumbnail sketch of how I ended up here.
Now, my hope was that we would have a third season going into Boys and Girls in America, but you and I recently had an exchange that seems that may not necessarily happen. We don't know for sure, but we're
I feel like Stuart Copeland being asked if the police are going to get back together.
Well, Sting isn't returning my calls right now.
We never broke up. There was talk initially, but I think that what's happened so far is that both Dan and Mike have lives outside hosting. I know it's difficult to believe, but they actually have that. And so I think that might be taking precedence. Also, I'm not sure Dan is as invested in the band as both Mike and I are. He's pretty candid about the fact that he stopped listening circa either Stay Positive or I'm sorry, what?
Heaven is Whenever.
Heaven is Whenever. Yeah. He's stuck. And again, the man is a font of musical knowledge, and he's a font of passion for music. But I'm not sure his passion waned towards the later years of the band. Mine hasn't, obviously, because but so if he's up for doing that, I guess this is sort of like one of those media ways of calling each other out. Dan, if you're listening, I'm interested. Let's get the band back together.
Yes, we're going to start this campaign, a grassroots campaign to do the third season. But
I of course completely understand if he's not interested. I completely understand. So.
Well, the great thing about it is, if it is a situation just where they're busy, it can easily be picked up at any time, because most of these records we're talking about are 10, 15 years old. So it's not like there's a time sensitivity at work here. So and if there never is another season, those 2 seasons stand alone. They're definitely worth going back and listening to. I'm not just saying that because I was in an episode, but I think they're great. And if you're a fan of the Hold Steady, you'll love it. Yeah. If you're not, you'll learn about them and definitely want to hear more from them. So by all means, give it a shot.
I mean, if those 2 seasons have to stand as like Love's Forever Changes album, just a gem that will never see the likes again, yes, we would be happy. So,
exactly. It's the party down of podcasts. 2 seasons, perfection.
2 seasons. That's it.
we say that because you and I had that exchange about Rob Thomas, and
right.
You know, I was fortunate enough to have him on. Rob and I went to high school together. He
very cool.
Yeah, he graduated the year before I did, but we played basketball together. I actually ended up wearing his uniform the year after he played. He was a much better player than I was, but yeah, so it was good. It was fun to reconnect with him. And then when you tweeted that about him and about Party Down, I was like, coincidentally enough, I've got news on that front. So
yeah. and that was great. You said that they might be there. There's a good chance they're going to be excavating that. So
yeah, they're going to have like a revival. He said probably early 2022 that it's already been written, and they just have to. It's a scheduling thing with all the cast, you know.
Right.
But well, Shawn, let's learn a little bit more about your own personal musical journey and play around with something we like to call, is that your vinyl answer? And we'll start off by asking you if you can remember, what's the first record you bought with your own money back when you were a kid?
So I have listened to a number of episodes, and so I sort of know this question was coming. There's a two-part answer to this. So
okay.
The first record, the first 45s I remember buying with my, and that's how old I am. I'm from the 45s.
You and me both.
The first 45s I remember buying with my own money. It was like an allowance-esque fortune I came into miraculously. I had to have been fifth grade. It was easily fifth grade, and I went to this mall. Back then, it was the premier, one of the more upscale malls on the east side of Indianapolis, where I lived. And I bought 3 45s, and I can remember exactly what they were. So the first one was the Eagles' "Take It to the Limit."
Okay,
that was playing around that time. I think the Eagles' greatest hits was. And had been perennially on the playlist of a lot of people at that time.
Oh yeah.
And so I was hearing that. Yeah. The second one was, wait for it, Bay City Rollers "Saturday Night."
SHURDAY.
And Les McKeon, the lead singer, died about a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And the third 45 was, and there was a single that came out, one of these novelty singles that came out in the 70s. By the way, 70s were like the great era of novelty singles.
Yes.
In the sort of the sweet spot of the Dr. Demento era. But there was this novelty song about like CB culture called "The White Knight." And basically, it was this tale of this speed demon who drove a truck really fast and was outpacing all of the state troopers. And one state trooper who was telling this tale was talking about how he was being completely outfoxed by the White Knight. So here's and I thought about that. So you have country rock, you have pop pablum, like manufactured pop pablum, and then you have novelties. That isn't a cross section, outside of African American and Black music at the time, accepted, because I didn't hear much of that growing up. But if that isn't a cross section of what you heard a lot of in the 70s, on AM radio, I don't know what is. Yes,
absolutely. So, do you recall what the first LP was you ended up getting after those 45s?
That was sort of my two-part question. The first LP I bought with my own money, and I went to Peaches Records and Tapes also on the east side, back when Peaches were around. I don't know if that was a Midwest chain or a national chain.
No, I think they actually had those here back then too, here in Texas.
Yeah. So I went and I bought Pink Floyd's "The Wall." That was the very first, and much to the chagrin of my parents, I was reaching that age where I was making my own sort of quasi-cultural decisions, and I don't know, I saw this ad for it, and it was genius marketing, because it was Gerald Scarf's wonderful animation.
Yes,
it actually appeared in the movie, and then the one great single from it, which was "All in All is Just Another Brick in the Wall." And I saw, it was just a snippet of it. I go, whatever that shit is, I gotta fucking have that. and from that I became like a big huge Floyd head. From those was my high school years.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're about the same age, and I remember I think that came out right around 8th grade, 9th grade, and boy, you want to talk about being in a wheelhouse. We don't need no education. That was
it was tailor made for that era and for guys our age at that time. Yeah.
Oh, it definitely was. It certainly was.
Right.
Do you know, Shawn, by any chance, if you still have that original copy of The Wall?
I do not. I ended up spending some time in the military after I got out of high school, and my half brother absconded with it, and I haven't seen it since. I think he ended up destroying it in some way.
Oh,
so.
no.
But I did keep the original like artwork. Like it came with some artwork that in the same way that like the White Album came with the the pull-out posters of the Beatles, and then the Dark Side of the Moon came with that poster that you could pull out. There was some artwork that came with it, and I still have that. That much I do have. So
excellent, Shawn. Who do you own the most albums by, and which of theirs is your favorite?
This is tough. I'm pretty genre agnostic, and I've got a lot of records. It would probably have to be Dylan. I own a lot of Bob Dylan albums.
Okay.
I've been, from all the studio stuff to the live stuff to the bootlegs that have been coming out. I bought Biograph when it came out, and I, had to have that. But yeah, it's probably a lot of Bob Dylan. So that's where I'd probably place myself. Yeah. Do you have an all-time favorite, or does it change depending on mood? It changes depending on mood. I'm a late 70s Dylan guy. There are some people who go, oh, I love this folk stuff, or I love the classic 60s era Highway 61. I'm a big fan of Desire and Street Legal. I love those albums.
Nice.
I don't know why even, Dylan heads don't, they skip over Desire, Street Legal, Shot of Love. They hate Saved, they hate Slow Train Coming. But that's those late 70s albums that, even if those two outpace Blood on the Tracks for me. I'm a huge, I could walk you through those albums. I love them so much.
Heck, I even enjoy Infidel. So
Infidel is amazing. I love that album. Mark Knopfler's guitar all over that. You gotta love that. So
if you get a chance, check out Daniel Romano and his band covered the entire Infidels like a year or two ago.
Wow.
It's really good. It's like, I'm like, wow. And I hadn't thought about that album in so long, and maybe want to go back and listen to it again. So yeah, it's really worth checking out. Is there a specific album by Dylan or anyone that you've purchased more times over the years than any other?
I own a lot of copies of oh god. I own a lot of copies of shit. Why am I brain farting tonight? I'm doing a lot of brain farting. I own a lot of copies of oh god. Now I need help. Dear God, hope you got this letter. And
XTC.
XTC Skylarking.
Skylarking, yes.
I own like 3 or 4 copies of that, and I think I've had to. I worn out the cassette because I bought it on cassette, and then I lost the CD a couple of. But yeah, that one I've had a lot of. I've owned a lot of. So
that's a really good pick. That's a really good one. So, what size is your vinyl collection currently, Shawn, and who has the largest one of all your friends and family?
So my vinyl collection is relatively small. I'm one of those guys who here's the thing. I still have all my cassettes.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys. I refuse to get rid of old tech.
Sure.
I won't get rid. What's the opposite of digital? I'm brain farting on the opposite word.
Analog.
Analog. Yeah. Thank you very much.
It took me a second to think of the word. Yeah.
No, it's brain fart evening. I don't know what it is. But I still own all the old analog tech. For instance, I have all my cassettes. They're in like 7 or 8 of those, oak boxes that used to hang on the walls, and just I've got all of my own old CDs. I fear that when I made the big switch over to MP3s, that I would something might happen. You never know.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen. I've taken steps to make sure that there are multiple copies, both online and on external hard drives of all the songs. But just in case, I still have all of my CDs from that era. I sort of got into CDs. Let me put it this way: CD when I was living on military bases in the like mid to late 80s.
Yeah,
CDs were really coming into their own,
right?
And the technology was really readily available. So I didn't end up buying a lot of vinyl in that time, and so I didn't really become a vinyl head. However, I have sort of like a lot of people our age, and a lot of people who've maintained, that vinyl is probably the best for listening to. I do have a lot of vinyl. Most of it is all like LP reissues, record day stuff.
Mhm.
A lot of Hold Steady. I've got Separation Sunday. I've got Heaven Is Whenever. I've got Almost Killed Me. I've got all that stuff on vinyl. So that's probably the most number of the most by that artist on
Sure.
LP that I have. As far as having here's the thing too, and I'm making a lot of excuses why I'm not answering your question succinctly. I've lived a sort of peripatetic life, and by that I mean I spent a lot of time. I spent time moving around the military.
Yeah.
Then I got married, and my ex-wife was a career military person, and so I ended up following her around for like 12 years. So I've lived all the place, and that didn't allow me to meet. There were other responsibilities that were taking precedence.
Sure.
That I suddenly got a chance to get out and meet people and see their vinyl collections. I'm trying to think of someone I might know. I think my good friend Kevin Gautier has a lot of vinyl, but I'm not. To be honest, I'm not really sure. I couldn't name that person, although I do. I'm almost certain that I know a lot of vinyl heads. So
yeah, and I would be willing to bet Dan or Mike or some of those guys probably have pretty good size collection too.
Dan probably does. Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have either currently or from the past a favorite mom and pop record store?
And again, because I moved around so much, I go to a lot of mom and pop record stores. But I don't remember. I remember that there was this used CD and cassette, and I know that you're vinyl focused, so I apologize.
No, that's okay.
But Hawaii had this chain of when I lived in Hawaii, Honolulu, had this chain of like used record and tapes and bookstores, like whatever used media you wanted, they had. And I used to hop those places. And for God's sakes, I can't remember the name of them. I'm sure if they might all be gone. I certainly hope they're not. But there was a small, like a chain, like 4 or 5 different places on Oahu where you could just go through and just pour through old stuff. I mean, I'm in vinyl heaven now. I live in and I've been to a number of LP stores. The problem is that I just got here literally about a year ago, so the names aren't sticking with me as well as they should. So,
well, the good thing is you'll have plenty of opportunity to check those places out, because that's the good thing about living here in Dallas is there's a lot of vinyl places here as well. So it's just getting the time to go, and then when you go, it's like, oh, okay, now I've got to buy stuff. Vinyl is not cheap.
No, and not only that, but you once you walk into those places, you feel obligated to, and especially during COVID, you go,
oh yeah,
holy shit, anything could happen. I know I just came in here to browse, but I'm buying something just to I'm doing my part.
They definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I know it's been a rough go, but fortunately a lot of them are doing pretty well now.
Right.
Do you have, Shawn, this is our last question, a favorite cover song? Like when you think of the song that you enjoy the most that was redone by someone else, is there one that comes to mind?
Oh God. Oh my God. Can you edit out the pauses?
Well, like for me, I feel like a lot of guests have a lot of different ones, and it's natural because there's a lot of great covers, but I always just come back to Take Me to the River by Talking Heads. That's just like, I love Al Green and the original's great, but it's just, I feel like that's one of those songs that it's better than the original.
I have, here's my perfect one. The Brothers Johnson's version of Strawberry Letter 23.
Yes. Oh, that's really good.
It's actually a Shuggie Otis song.
Yes, it is.
I adore that song. I think you cannot but help but stop and listen to that song. It's a fantastic song.
Yeah, I didn't realize for the longest time that was a cover. And then when I heard the Shuggie Otis version, and Shuggie Otis is great, I went back and got to listen to all of his stuff. But yeah, that's a really good call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I didn't learn this until about, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago that was a cover. So yeah.
But yeah, that's an awesome tune. That's a great one. That's fantastic. Shawn, how can people follow you on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you like to share on that. Any accounts there?
I'm on Twitter at Shawn Westfall, ShawnWestfall. I'm sorry, WES. Let me just do it again. At Shawn Westfall, ShawnWestfall, and that's also where you can follow me on Instagram. I'm also searchable by Shawn Westfall on Facebook too. I'm easily findable that way as well.
And what are you doing these days in terms of creative projects? I know you had the improv troupe. You doing anything in the improv world in Portland there? Because that's obviously a fertile ground, I would think.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm working on a couple things. So when I ran an improv comedy theater, and again, I taught at the DC Improv for 15 years before hanging out my own shingle in DC. As far as this brick and mortar theater that we had, the Unified Scene Theater, again,
yeah,
an homage to the Hold Steady. That was around for like 4.5 years before. The reason I'm in Portland is because my wife got hired to come out. Nike came headhunting her, and so they made us. Let me put it this way: they made us an offer we couldn't.
Yes, you don't say no to Phil Knight.
Yeah, you know. So we shut down the theater. But what I noticed was, I spent about almost nearly 20 years teaching, and my teaching schedule at the Improv and at my own theater was pretty demanding. I was teaching like 3 to 4 nights a week at both of those places. And so what I noticed was that I was let me put it this way: I was helping platform the creativity of a lot of other people at the expense of my own. Of course, I would also perform improv, and I performed improv frequently in a number of shows in DC and at my own theater, but I really wasn't being as expressed as I wanted. And so now that I'm in Portland, I'm doing a number of things. So I'm a stutterer. I have a speech impediment. I was born with a speech impediment, and what helped me overcome it was listening to people. I'm an excellent mimic. I can do a lot of voices and imitations and things like that. I'm a really annoying person to have at a party because
well, we have that in common.
So and that's what helped me. That's how I became fluent. I would, instead of talking as me, I would do imitations of other people in order to remain fluent. And so what I'm actually doing right now is I'm in the middle of writing. I have a first draft done of a memoir.
Okay.
About my speech impediment, and it's something that I have a background in English literature. I have a master's in English literature, and I've always had aspirations toward writing writing something along the lines of a memoir or creative nonfiction in some way. And during the pandemic, which was an ideal time to hunker down and do it, that's when I started this memoir. So I have the first draft done, and I'm almost done with the second draft. I'm getting ready to start sending it out to publishers and seeking representation if that's possible. So that's one thing that that's been on my list for a long time that I'm doing. I am heavily involved now in the improv scene here in Portland. It was touch and go there for a while because theaters were closed and they couldn't really have shows or even class in person. But things are really ramping up, and I'm actually hosting a show at Curious Comedy Theater in Portland next week. Next Thursday, a week from next Thursday.
Okay, so the 7th.
The 7th, correct. So I don't know.
October 7th.
I don't know when this podcast will drop, but it might.
It'll drop tomorrow morning, the 1st. So we're on a tight time frame here, my friend.
So those are primarily what I'm doing these days. And again, it's refreshing to sort of like to be more personally creatively expressed as opposed to helping foment, which I'm not resenting the time I spent doing it. I am enjoying this time to sort of work on me, I guess, is a way.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that book's going to be great. I'm really excited and glad you're going to you finally got that draft done, and keep me posted on when you got that ready to roll as far as found a publisher and publication date and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, I thank you so much, Shawn. I really appreciate you being on. Keep me posted on the book. Keep us posted on if you hear anything on A Positive Jam, because we really hope there's another season of that. And we'll definitely stay in touch, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It was just a pleasure and a joy to talk about this. Thank you.
Don't worry about it, guys. It's all in the mix.
Bye-bye, lardass.
Bend and Scoop is a production of Lukewarm Tallboy Studios.
We will return tomorrow morning with the sun.
Good evening, and have a good life.